looking forward to being on the island this week for 3 days and speaking to as many people as I can about things that matter to them.
He's a member for Britain. He's a member of the Liberal Party. He's a minister. He's a representative for our electorate, Britain. I'm talking about Roger Jaensch, and we're going to have a chat with him. Minister, welcome.
Thanks, Wade.
Been a while since we had a chat. I remember one at the bakery some time ago. That last year, I think that was.
Yes, it always seems too long between catch-ups with you, but looking forward to being on the island this week for 3 days and speaking to as many people as I can about things that matter to them.
Now, you know what it's like on a small island. Everybody wants to know, why do you come to King Island?
Well, it's part of my electorate. King Island is to Tasmania what Tasmania is to Australia. We are an island people, and we need to make the effort to get around our whole constituency, our whole electorate to see people and hear what matters to them, because quite often the things that matter most and affect King Islanders are different to those here on the mainland, just as they are different on Tasmania sometimes to mainland Australia. So it's part of being a representative for the area that we get on the ground and have a chat with people as often as we can.
Now, Premier Jeremy Rockliff usually, when he comes here often, is to make an announcement. Are you going to make any announcements or just come and listen?
Look, there's some issues that we know are important to people right now that sit in my portfolio areas, things like the air services and the new Sharp Airlines schedule that we've supported to fill some of the hole left by Rex. That's important to people. We know that there is some questions about the future of racing on King Island, and so I'll be meeting with the racing club as Minister for Racing now. And we understand that we've got an arrangement from Tas Racing that can support the races to continue if there is enough horses and punters to make it work. In general, I want to catch up with the Phoenix Community House and the men's shed there, both of which, again, are part of my portfolios now, but also very, very important services for lots of people on the island as well. So there's a lot of things to meet and talk about, but I'll also be listening to what people want to tell me that I might not already be across.
A lot to talk about, but how is it possible almost? How can you be a minister for so many portfolios? How do you keep up with it all?
Well, if you think about the people on your island who are farmers, they are experts in growing grass or beef cattle, but they have to be experts in the weather. They also know how to put up fences. They've also got to be veterinarians. They've also got to keep a fleet of vehicles going and everything else as well. Everybody's got lots of different things they have to keep their mind on and keep learning about. Ministers are no different.
Because in those 12 years, you have had a few portfolios, isn't it?
That's right. Yeah, no, I've had a lot of them. There's a few that I haven't had yet, but I'm focused all the time on the ones that are front and center. But again, that sits alongside a focus on anything that's important to people in my electorate where I live, including King Island as well. So it's the skill of, I think, of being a minister is to know which questions to ask of the departments and all the other people who've got information and where the job of a minister and the government is to take action and where you need to let the process work or ensure you've got government departments and services that can do that, meet most of the requirements of our community without ministers having to get involved with individual issues. Where you get unstuck is when you get too involved in too much detail, too much of the time, and that's where you get burnt out and you start to miss things.
It's you mentioned already air services, and that of course also relates to tourism and hospitality and events. Um, is this an issue that will never disappear from King Island? You think we have a small population, we're a small place, we have a little airport, and we have flights coming to the island sometimes with hiccups, and how are we going to grow? Because I often hear from people in the tourism industry here is that, yeah, if we had more flights, we could bring more people to the island. Not even talking about the cost of the airfares, but what can the state government do there?
I don't think that these are the sorts of things that are ever fixed forever. That they're the sorts of things that we need to work on every year and every season, because things keep changing uh, in the consumer market, but also in terms of what we've got to sell. And tourism access is sometimes a chicken and egg thing. You've got to have reasons for people to come and visit the island for the tourism economy, um, and yet they can only come if there is suitable access. So we need to be driving supply and demand all the time on King Island, as we do for Tasmania. I'm this week going to be visiting the new development at Ocean Dunes, which I think is an exciting draw card. I mean, and the more people who are drawn to that, the more services there will be, the more customers for the airlines to provide seats for. That also provides services for King Islanders who need to be able to move between King Island, the mainland, and Tasmania. So we need to be working on supply and demand all the time with air services and tourism, and ensuring that we're meeting the needs of King Islanders at the same time.
Well, I'll give you an example, like we had, for example, with the Festival of King Island, which I believe you're going to visit also next year,
Yep.
which is good to see you there. Is that this year we had to spend an extra $20,000 as a festival to use charter flights to even bring our performers here to the island, let alone having then space for tourists. And fortunately, we get support from like the likes of Events Tasmania, but that's also based on that we create that more tourists will come to the island to see the festival. So you can understand that we're in a twine, in a bind. What can we do? You know what I mean?
That's right. And it keeps changing as well. I mean, we need to keep growing the reasons for people to come and to grow the access to go with that. And when we get that right, one feeds the other and it becomes sustainable. In the meantime, sometimes we have to supplement the schedule so that we keep an essential connectivity and access to the island. And that's why our government is investing to expand Sharps services from October this year through to April next year. So across the summer, across the busier part of the year, we're putting in money to ensure that there are additional Sharp flights. We'll have more to say about those during the week while I'm there, and I'm meeting with the King Island Council, the airport operators, to talk about how that's going to work. But we won't see King Island, losing essential services. We know that they're important for people to go about their normal lives, but also to keep the island accessible for those who want to come and spend money and stay on the island and enjoy it and go home and tell their friends.
Now, for years, airlines, not only through state but also through federal government, have been supported financially, hey, to break even and to keep their businesses going. Don't you think there should come a time that even those airlines might need a little bit more support, but then to give that support and give them the opportunity to become sustainable themselves? In other
Yep.
words, not only filling holes, but building a mountain.
Yeah, we need to do both. We'd like them to see themselves as a partner that we work with as an island and as a state in growing our accessibility and our tourism offering. We need to show them that there's more to see and do, and get them involved with promoting King Island as a destination to their customer base as well.
Now, you also mentioned racing, which of course is a bit of a hot item at the moment here on the island. That
Mm.
last season had to be cancelled. If that happens again, and that could well happen again, it probably looks to be the end of racing on King Island after a long, long time. What do you think we can do there? Test racing has now finally come aboard and sort of, well, they always were aboard, but have given more details about the support. But King Island then has to make sure that we have at least 30 horses on the island. We need people to do all the work with the horses. Is that going to be a hard battle, you think?
Well, I'll be learning a bit more about that when I meet with the club on the island this week. I've been minister for just under a month now, and learning as much as I can about how racing works right around the state. I had a meeting with Tas Racing last week, and we talked about King Island, and understand that they've now written to the club with a bit of a proposal to say, basically, if you can get the interest and the horses on the island, and that Tas Racing will continue to support racing on the island. That's good. We know that there have been some challenges there in the past, so I'll learn a bit more about that from the racing club when I meet with them this week. I'm looking forward to that.
Well, as you mentioned, the chicken and the egg, that's a similar situation in a way, because one cannot do without the other. And if one hasn't got one, then the other won't happen. And
Yeah.
yeah, the whole issue now, are we going to bring this late in the year now, because the season starts before you know, are we going to bring all these horses to the island, get the trainers here, get it all subsidized and paid for? And that's why I said it looks like going to be a hard battle, and I'm sure your government will try and do whatever they can, but there are limits, isn't it?
That's right, and I think the basic proposition now is that for King Island Racing, if you can get the horses and the punters there, the support will be there from Tas Racing.
Now, you're also the Minister for the Arts. Is that an
Yes.
easy portfolio?
It's a new type of portfolio for me. I've got a lot to learn about that, but I've always been a big supporter of the arts in our at community level here in the Northwest, and in places like King Island as well. I want to ensure, while I'm Minister for the Arts, that the arts is not just about the things that are wonderful and top shelf that we pay to see. To inspire us, but also that we're investing in where all that comes from, where people get their first chance to be on a stage or to be performing and trying it out for the first time. Everyone who we go and every artist that we pay to see or watch or listen to, one day had their first chance on stage. They were supported by someone who had experience, who encouraged them and believed in them. And I think we need to make sure that we're investing in that whole pipeline. And that's another way as well of ensuring that, the arts is for everyone, no matter where you live, right around Tasmania, not just something that you get to see when you're in the big cities. So being a Minister for the Arts from Northwest Tasmania, I think is a challenge that I'm looking forward to, and I've been enjoying it so far.
How wide is the role when you're the Minister for Community and Multicultural Affairs? I can understand the multicultural and their issues, but community affairs is well, to me, that's a very wide sort of portfolio, isn't it?
Yeah, could potentially be anything.
Yeah.
Think about it in King Island's context, with Phoenix House and the Men's Shed. They're the sorts of organisations who, for me, provide a window to what the needs are of people in the community who may not perhaps have what they need or the means to generate it, but need a bit of support, and particularly those who are a bit isolated or who can't get around by themselves, or we want some company and connection in the community as well. So I'll be visiting Phoenix House and the Men's Shed, catching up with the coordinators there to see what's going on for the people that they meet and they know, with their community garden and their various events that they hold, because that's where the chatter is, and I'll get a better understanding from them of what community needs are like on the island at the moment.
When you listen to our council over the last 3 or 4 years, one of the elements has often been we want to grow the community. Now, I know that when you look at the numbers in Tasmania of population growth, it's going down in a way. It's not really going up anymore at the moment. How do you think we can still work on growing this island when it comes to population?
Well, I think you've got to have jobs and things for people to do. I know that on the island, a couple of the things I'm very keen to catch up on while I'm there are the the resumption of mining, which I understand is going strongly now. The state government is invested in the return of mining on King Island, and we're very excited about what we're hearing from them now. The Gulf tourism developments are important as well. The cheese factory being back in Australian hands there and continuing to work. These are all areas where we're generating, businesses and investors are generating opportunities on King Island, which we trust will be growing the jobs there. The jobs are what brings people and allows them to sustain themselves on King Island as well. That's where we think our best efforts are placed to grow the economy and the community population of King Island, just as it is for Tasmania as a whole.
Now, I'm sure you're going to be here later this week. You're happy that we do a catch up on Friday, because I like to hear what you've been listening to and what you've been talking about, and give us a bit of an update.
Yep, that's terrific. I love to do that, Wade. I always enjoy catching up with you and picking over the week and what I've heard. Certainly, I've got some things in my schedule already. I expect that I'm going to meet some additional people who will raise things with me that aren't currently on my radar, and I look forward to that. And so I'd love to check in with you at the end of the week and cover the week that was.